Hi, I'm here with Kristi from the Flatiron School, and just want to say I'm super excited about the collaboration between Citi and Flatiron, and really around the sponsorships for women. So a phenomenal opportunity, and really in line with Citi's diversity goals and principles, and some of the things that we've been doing around women in IT. Really excited to think about, well, we've really focused on how do we drive middle school, high schoolers in. You've really taken a different approach and addressed people that want to be able to come back in and potentially change career and learn how to code. So I'd love to hear from you, but I'd also love to hear from our students. And Maddy, maybe you could share what attracted you to this program.
Sure. So I actually made the big career change, and something that had always fascinated me about the coding community was how not only inclusive, but everybody's there to help each other, whether it's a forum or a message board, or you're just like chatting with other people. And then I came to Flatiron and just realized that community online is just 10 times here at Flatiron. From the instructors to like administrators here and to the students, the community here has just been amazing, just in the way that everyone really collaborates and tries to help each other and give each other a leg up.
That's fantastic. Kristi, what do you think some of the key successes is for Flatiron and what makes it unique?
Well, I think in working with a partner like Citi, it draws students in like Maddy and Sarah and Kristi that otherwise might not be thinking about a program like this. We have to use partners like this to reach out and help women understand that this is a career, and see someone like you who's had such a successful career to even raise their hands and say, I think maybe I want to try this. And then you were mentioning, Maddy, that you tried a free program. We need to give women the opportunity to try this in a very easy, lightweight way, and what they end up discovering is that they love it. And it might actually be very different than preconceived notions of what we think it means to actually work in the tech industry and be a professional software engineer. So we just have to keep taking small steps to draw people in, to draw women in. And I think the closer they get, when there's an exciting and an inviting community, they realize that they can be not only a part of it, but truly contribute to it.
And I think one of the things that you and I talked about before was just the confidence for women to make that step, to change careers and think about it differently. What did some of you go through to think, okay, this is something that I really want to invest time in, and what were some of those struggles?
I actually came from an IT background. I actually did work with projects, but I wasn't a developer. I worked as a business analyst, and most of the projects were, just male-dominated in the IT, industry. So I just wanted to just make a change, because I dabbled in a little code, and I just thought it was fun, and I just thought, why are more women not doing this? Yeah.
There are also times where you're coding and something is difficult, there's a problem that's difficult, and I think that's what, taking that sort of, sometimes you feel that imposter syndrome, sort of, can I do this, can I tackle this problem, and taking that energy and fueling it, like to continue, and then when you actually see that you can solve the problem is always awesome. So knowing that there's always that sort of light at the end of the tunnel when you're solving a problem is what's so amazing about like this career and this path.
So we spend a lot of time with high school, middle school girls. What advice would you give them or encouragement to actually go into and pick this as a career versus waiting till potentially later in life?
Sure. I think just go for it. It can be daunting at first, and I think just the makeup of the industry right now is certainly daunting. But what's to say that you can't stick out, and what's to say that that's not something that's really special and can be like such a amazing thing for you? I think that yes, there are struggles ahead, but I think it all makes you a stronger person to like go through all of that and learn more about yourself and attack all these different problems.
What do you think young girls can do to discover if they like coding?
Well, there's a lot of apps out there now that are for elementary school children that I think it's amazing, because then it's giving children an opportunity to see if they like it. And I think it's not geared toward boys or girls. It's geared toward children. So I think these little games that they have are really great for girls too. Yeah.
Exactly, and what's always fascinating to me is elementary, middle school girls. There is no difference,
Right?
And they're both sets of age groups are really eager to learn for any kind of discipline. It's when you get to high school that you start to see it. Did any of you go through that and say, look, naturally, I think I would be more of a STEM type of person, and but you got drawn away from that because of peer pressure and wanting to fit in? So.
Yeah, I was, I actually was kind of gearing myself towards STEM as well. And I ended up doing economics, which I think is a little bit different, and that's what I majored in college. But I always was then drawn back to technology. I think that's how I ended up here and how I ended up at Flatiron School.
So what prevented you from picking that in high school?
I think I was like, well, maybe there's something about economics and sort of learning, and even like classes like sociology that were also correlated with economics that I felt were really just interesting. And I felt like, I think I'm better at this right now, so I'm going to do this. But really, that wasn't always the case. And I always drew back, and I'm really happy that I did come back to this.
So Sarah, you've completed the program here,
Yes.
and both of you are halfway through the program. So having come to this partway into your career, what did you find here that maybe felt different, and why you didn't start earlier in your career when you chose the economics path? What was different about Flatiron School?
There were a lot of women in my group, and we were all very close. We all supported each other, and there were, of course, a lot of allies, males, that also, kind of supported that. And we had a really great community that even now, a few days after graduation, we're still keeping in touch. We're still talking. We're still, talking about our careers and what we're up to. So having that community and having that support, I think, was also very helpful, along with the support of our teachers, our TCFs, which are kind of our work along with our lecturers to help us prepare for those tests and assignments that we have coming up.
So you found that after you got here, but you had to make the decision to raise your hand and even start, which I think is one of the things that we have to solve. When you made the decision to come here, did it feel different? What made you feel like this was a place where you could thrive?
Well, I think just having Flatiron offer scholarships to women was a really big deal. Like, that just shows that the school is encouraging women to join, and it just makes me feel like there's a community for me. I've taken coding classes for my bachelor degree in my university, and all of my classes were filled with boys. So I never had that community, and it's great to be here to have that.
Yeah, I think to echo that, I also did a lot of comp sci classes at university as well, and there's, going back to the community here, there's no community that I experienced in college, whereas you come here and we have each other, we have the other girls in our class, and we all kind of support and help each other, and even the guys in our class everyone's here because they want to be here, and that in itself, I think, makes an incredible community of people who are just lifting each other up.
We even have lunches sometimes where we have guests come in and speak to us who have already in the field, and it's always so inspiring to hear them talk about how they graduated from Flatiron and how they're now working, at their companies and doing really well, and kind of still facing, things that we're talking about right now in this roundtable, but getting through them and really being an inspiration for other women.
I think this is one of the reasons why having you here today,
Thank you.
as a representative of Citi, but as a professional in the industry, being able to see that and know that there is a value in drawing more women into this, it just makes all the difference.
I wish when I was starting out on my path there was something like this that I could have signed up for. Mine was more kind of a stumble along until I found my feet, and I love this. I love the focus on the women in tech, because we run an organization where we are 50% female in FinTech. And it's super exciting when you have dialogue and you get this really diverse perspective. It feels different, it sounds different, so I'm so encouraged about the program and you guys' opportunity. So what does success look like for you? So once you graduate Flatiron, and you're right there, so you're approaching it a little quicker, what does success look like for you?
Success means being out there in the field, getting a job as a developer, and really like solving problems and facing challenges every day and being able to overcome them, but then also being able to bring in other women into the field and be a mentor to them. So that's what I hope to do, sort of in the long term.
Excellent. And you guys?
Yeah, I think one of the things that, besides like getting a whole new skill set behind me and getting a job in a whole new industry, I really want to be a mentor to younger girls and give them this skill set and pass that down to them. So hopefully after Flatiron, I will have the prerequisites to at least build upon that and teach other girls how to code too, and like at least let them know that this is a path that's super open to them.
I'm definitely going to be contacting you guys because we need mentors to go out to the schools. So I think we just found 3 potential individuals to come partner with us on the Women in IT program, which is fantastic.
It just feels great to be, to have children be able to look up to someone that's in the field. So, have little cousins that are girls, and they're just always asking me like, what they want to study and what they want to do, and I just want to be able to tell them they can do anything they want to do, and to be able to look up to someone is just great, and I want to be a mentor too. Yeah.
No, that's fantastic. So how do you go about inspiring, other women that are, kind of maybe too timid or not sure enough of themselves to be able to take such a drastic potential change in career?
Yeah, I think it's just instilling in them confidence. Like just last weekend, I met a woman from another company who, she's a solutions architect, and as soon as she heard I was going through this program, she was like, "Oh my gosh, that is so amazing! I'm so proud of you." And I had just met her, but those words of encouragement in itself from a stranger, I think just like gave me such a little boost. I'm like, you know what? It is great. This is cool that I'm doing this, and I can do this. So just like supporting other women, whether they're your peers or they're younger or they're older than you, I think is a great place to start.
And share your story. We just need to tell these stories of success and ability over and over and over, because you're right, people don't have the confidence in themselves until they hear it enough times that other people have done it, and to say to them, you too can do it. I like to talk to a lot of students. I think staying close to who our students are and what your stories are is really what gets us excited here at Flatiron School. And I was at an event recently where it was a woman who had been spending the past 6 months preparing to apply for Flatiron School. She'd been doing every free course that we have, and she didn't think she was ready. And I said, "Why do you think you're not ready?" And she says, "I don't think I know enough." And I said, "Well, you don't have to know enough. That's the whole point of coming here." And I discovered that she was a professional violinist, incredible musician. And I said, "How long did it take you to get that good?" And she said, "Well, years." And I said, "Of course. Anything is like that." And so we sometimes have this misconception of how good we should be before we even get started. And so people just need to hear that. The next day she applied, and she came into our program here in New York City, and she graduated. Now she's out in the tech industry.
And I think you can talk to some of the results you have here, which I think are phenomenal, in the amount of people graduating from the program that end up in, IT and actually stay. So I think that is just phenomenal.
We think about our responsibility to students. You, as just having graduated and you midway through the program, I think you both all know this really well, that we think of our responsibilities to help you launch your career in tech. And so we want to get you through the program. We focus on our graduation rate, and then we focus on our job placement rate. And 98% of our students have received a job in the tech industry at 6 months. We stay very focused on that. We report on every student that comes through our campuses. And they're not just starting jobs, they're actually launching careers. Our students have been in industry now anywhere from a year to 5 years, because we were founded in 2012. And they've gone on to places like Apple and Facebook and Spotify and Google, just launching really incredible careers in tech.
And where do you see the interest in women in those dialogues and in placement? Because if you think about the shift, there's so much focus on the diversity gap, whether all the way from the UN to CEOs. I know Citi is incredibly passionate about increasing the diversity statistics in all areas, in all professions. How do you see that when you're talking about placing students?
Well, I think it's changed a lot over the last 5 years. In some ways, the conversation's become more sophisticated. More people are paying attention to it, and more people are participating. And so it used to be where I think there was a smaller number of people who were really trying to bring women in. Now, it's table stakes. Everyone is thinking about this. And it's really hard because computer science underdegree programs, you attended some classes, I think maybe you did as well, Kristina, they're sub 20%, maybe even less in some programs. So it's really challenging. If you want to get gender parity in your engineering teams, you can't just hire out of computer science programs. So they're really looking to alternative programs to draw women in.
So I think the conclusion is a great time to be a woman in technology. Yes. So thank you so much for the time. Good conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.